Ahead on RPM tonight, how blissful is Fountain, Colorado this time of year? Ask Mike. He's on the Pikes Peak pole.
Oh, we've got a loose tire on pit road.
Has Hakkinen found the winning formula in Monaco? Not if his #1 nemesis has something to say. And how hot is Atlanta this time of year? Hot rods of various sizes and speeds are eager to find out. And how much would you like to be in Rio this time of year? As the NHL playoffs heat up, a Karts rookie has his eyes on a natural hat trick. The Indy 500 is 2 weeks away. Will practice make perfect as drivers get geared up? In Gearing Up, we'll preview the winners only, please, Winston. Life is a circle, and RPM tonight is next. Hi there, glad to have you with us on RPM tonight. I'm Reese Davis. Ahead on this show, Jeff Gordon's plan for attacking his occasional problem gas. One on the kart circuit who's causing indigestion for his competitors. But first, climbing Pikes Peak. After failing in his only attempt to climb Pikes Peak, the man who discovered the mountain, Lieutenant Zebulon Montgomery Pike, predicted no one would ever reach the summit. Zeb never caught a ride in Ron Hornaday's 16 truck. The defending champ at Pikes Peak routinely reaches the pinnacle. He's the only driver to finish in the top 10 in every race in the Rockies. Zebulon Pike became a general, but he was killed in the War of 1812. We like to bring those leads full circle. Early on, racing 3 wide, Randy Tolsma, speaking of full circle, trying to go outside of Mike Bliss, but Tolsma lost the right front, and that 25 truck just brushes the wall of Voodoo. And that run flat technology, not what it's cracked up to be there. During the caution, Greg Biffle trying to leave his pit, and he's driving through the tire jungle where we sell tires for less. 50 truck finally gets out of there. Same caution, we're riding with Mike Wallace. He had the same kind of problem on the left of the screen. Butch Miller did the same thing there. Tire finally flies off. Terry Cook comes along and gives it a good spin like a top to get the thing out of the way. Stacy Compton's been in the top 5 in every race this season until this one. Had to go behind the wall with a mechanical problem. This is not a replay coming up right here. Tolsma, the 25, right front problem again. He would finish 26, lap 110. Jack Sprague going inside the kid Kevin Harvick. Sprague would run over 170 laps on his left side tires. The recommended number is 125. Sprague, the only truck on the lead lap. He didn't want to change that thing. Sprague's crew, meanwhile, hoping those left sides would hold up. Lap 177 coming up. Rob Morgan. Whoa. He's on fire. That brought out a caution. It's not really what Sprague's group was looking for, but they did get to bring in the 24 for left side. 179 laps on that set, but it also brought 7 cars back on the lead lap. Jack was making a mockery of this thing. 5 laps to go. Terry Cook brings out another caution, and that is not what the 24 needed. Pit crew knows that. On the last lap, Mike Wallace is in second, and here comes Mike Wallace. Being urged on by Morley Safer and Ed Bradley. Mike Wallace at the pace barely by the length of that guy's mustache. Actually, if it were by the length of that guy's mustache, he would have beaten him by half a track, so it was closer than that. 13 1/1000ths of a second. The 2 truck getting it done. Mike Wallace gets the victory, his second of the season. Sprague went all those laps without changing the left side. Some bad luck with the cautions that burned him. Kevin Harvick second and Memphis third this time, still looking for the first win. Andy Houston's third top 5. Jimmy Hensley's third top 5 in 4 races. Well, last year at Pikes Peak was the debut of the open pits on the truck series, and it looked as if a very strong truck and some gutsy pit strategy had just guaranteed Jack Sprague an easy victory. But when that caution flew at the wrong time, Mike Wallace was standing by ready to kick down the door to victory lane, and now he's standing by with our Dave Burns. Guys?
That's right, Reese. Mike Wallace was in the catbird seat. He became the cat. Unfortunately, Jack Sprague was the bird. And, Mike, that last lap, you had to race him. That was for the win. How tough was it to get around him?
Well, it wasn't tough. You know, I mean, we had a run on him going down the back straightaway. He drove low. I knew he was going to drive low. He drove in hard. As soon as he drove in hard, I knew he was going to push up the racetrack. I got on the brakes hard, left the thing turn, and then it was just a race. Fortunately, he was a little farther up the racetrack than I was. Truck hooked up good. Robert Yates horsepower did a great job, and you know, it's an unbelievable day, to be honest with you. You know, I've won 2 races today here, and to win it in the last lap, dramatic fashion, came from basically a lap down to do it, and it was just stellar finish.
Yeah, Mike referring to a Winston West race he won earlier today. Now, Mike, you had to come in under green to pit for right side tires at the end. Was that a tough decision to pull the truck off the track?
Well, you know, the Ford F-150 had run good all day long, and we talked on the radio. Timmy says, stay out, stay out. And I says, Timmy, if we do, we're going to give all those other guys that already pitted a lot of time on fresh tires, and tires look like they're fast, and we're running out of tires. And I said, I think we should come. And, you know, the one nice thing about my whole team is we just communicate. You know, if I want to do something good, bad, or indifferent, that's what you want to do, and vice versa. If they tell me something, I do it. So it worked out perfect. The tire decision was the right decision to make. It got us in a position to get our lap back, be able to race Jack for the end, and we won here at Pikes Peak, you know, and we'd just like to thank everybody, all our sponsors. I'd like to take a minute to thank Rick Corelli, you know, and sorry, Rick, you're not here. I hope you're feeling a lot better, and, you know, he got hurt last week in Memphis, but I hear he's recovering well, and hopefully he'll be back in a few weeks or a few months to race with us.
That's right. We know Rick was watching today. And, Reese, you know what? They had problems in the Winston West race also, and they overcame that. A throttle linkage that was separated. They got that back together. So Mike Wallace didn't win without problems today, but he sure won in a grand fashion.
He certainly did, Dave. No question about that. Now, as for Jack Sprague, if not for 13 1/100ths of a second, or 1,000ths of a second, I believe, all of his decisions are just right. What about his pit strategy throughout the course of the race, especially late?
Well, we didn't think, first of all, during the course of the broadcast that he could last on fuel the first time that he stayed out. He did, and then he lasted the rest of the race on fuel. But it was the left side tires we were more concerned about, because even Goodyear said they had kind of rated him for 125 laps. He was going to put almost 186 laps on him. But the big thing that happened for Jack was that last restart, he did not need that last yellow. Rob Morgan, unfortunately, had a problem in his truck, and when that yellow came out, that allowed everybody to come back around, and suddenly the big advantage that Jack Sprague had by staying out, even when Mike Wallace had pitted, it vanished. And as Mike said, Jack was easy to get around because he pushed up on the racetrack. So it was a tough call. I think they made the right calls all day. It's just that the flags didn't go for him at the end.
Yeah, sometimes just racing deals, Dave. Thanks a lot.
All right, you bet, Reese.
All right, Dave Burns joining us from out there in Pikes Peak. Well, as mentioned, Jack Sprague didn't get a break. He 6 straight top 10s now, but still looking for that first victory, and this one was particularly heartbreaking.
I got to win races. I mean, I'm miserable to live with when I don't win, and I haven't won a race in 7 races now since Vegas last fall. So, and this is probably the 3rd one this year that we should have won or could have won, and this one we surely should have won, but I don't know. I'll catch a break one day.
I think we might have stayed out a little too long. We by far had, I think, the best truck. It just didn't last past the 60, 70 laps, but they're on those short runs. I mean, our thing was awesome, and that's the way it goes.
We were wasting time on the racetrack because the truck was so far off, and Rick made a good call to go ahead and bring us in and get the thing where it was fast again, and that's what happened. We made up a lot of ground on the track while the guys were out there on the older tires, while we had fresher tires on, and it paid off for us.
I was hoping for no caution because we was probably going to finish second, hadn't the caution came out. But, I couldn't hold those guys. I got too tight there at the end. I couldn't stay in the bottom, and, let a couple trucks get by me on that last shootout. So we're happy, though. Top 5's not bad.
And you know what? Sprague can take solace in this. He is in 2nd place in the point standings despite having yet to reach victory lane. Hornaday, who finished 6th in this race, leads the way. Well, still to come, Charismatic sets his sights on a Triple Crown. Juan Montoya eyed his own version of it on the kart circuit. Could the rookie harness his horsepower and take it to victory lane one more time? The Brickyard is open for business. And are there changes in IRL cars coming that will keep them together? We'll discuss that. And the NHRA guys have been turning the record book on its ear, although I don't think that's what Kenny Bernstein had in mind. And the prancing horse has a thoroughbred at the wheel. Ken Schumacher become the winningest Ferrari driver of all time. Also gearing up for a little trip to the Winston. We'll talk about that in a bit. Formula One, Grand Prix of Monaco, start of the race. Mika Hakkinen on the pole again. He has been for every race. Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari on the outside, wastes no time, making a risky maneuver, squeezing by Hakkinen on the very first turn. Now, early on, Hakkinen's having some problems. His gurney strip, which helps maintain his balance, hanging off his rear wing. That happened to me one time, and I was in traction for a week. That allows Eddie Irvine in the Ferrari to gain on Hakkinen. Irvine right on Hakkinen's tail as they go through the turns, battling for second. Now watch the right back tire of Johnny Herbert. Those F1 machines do not run well when the tire just about comes off. Tethering, though, kept it on. Sign of things to come in all forms of racing, perhaps. Meanwhile, Irvine makes a 6.7-second pit stop, gaining on Hakkinen. Hakkinen missed a turn right there on lap 39, allowed Irvine to take over second, lost 18 seconds right there. That'll get you beat. Another risky maneuver by Irvine, goes for a second pit. He comes out just before Hakkinen comes out of the turn, holding on to second. In the end, Ferrari flags flying. Schumacher! Team Ferrari, he's the winningest Ferrari driver of all time with 16 victories, the 1-2-3, and finished there, the 1-2-3 in the Drivers' Championship standings. Well, they weren't new faces, but they were in new places. Bob Vandergriff and Tim Wilkerson hoped their first top qualifying efforts of the season would pay off in Commerce, Georgia, the home of the Atlanta Dragway, and Vandergriff and Wilkerson hoped would also be the home of their first career wins in their respective classes. We will start off in the funny cars. First round eliminations. Here comes Mr. Wilkerson. Far lane going up against Scotty Cannon. Cannon misfires. Both drivers smoked their tires, but Cannon pedals his way to victory, pulling off the upset, so Wilkerson's day was done. Funny car finals, this is familiar. John Force, far lane up against Whit Bazemore, and it's Force getting to the line first. John Force winning again, and John Force, of course, is atop the point standings. He and Tony Pedregon are the only guys to win in Funny Car this year. Off the top fuel now. First round eliminations from the top fuel division. Kenny Bernstein in the near lane taking on Doug Coletta. It's going to be a wild ride for Louis the Lizard. He might want to give up that job to the Frogs after all. The Budweiser dragster rolls over on his left side, striking the guard wall. You check out this thing. We hop on board. You want the on-camera angle. Watch the right rear tire shear off. Bernstein flips over on his left side into the guard wall. Car totaled. Most importantly, Bernstein walks away uninjured after that ride. Defending champion Corey McClenathan coming off a win at Richmond, having some trouble at the starting line. Corey Mack and Oily had to shut it off. Frustrating afternoon for them. And here comes Bob Vandergriff Jr., the Georgia resident, trying to impress the home crowd in the far lane, taking on Bruce Sarver. Both drivers will smoke their tires, but Sarver recovers in time to get the win. The #1 qualifier again, the hometown hero, Bob Vandergriff, going down in the first round. Off to the finals now. Bob chagrined over the turn of events there in his home area. He can head down to the varsity for a dog walk and he'll feel better. Gary Scelzi in the far lane taking on Coletta, and Scelzi coming up with the victory. Gary Scelzi winning that thing there. So in the top fuel points, they now go a little something like this. Nobody getting it done like Mike Dunn. He leads the way up by 88 over Tony Schumacher. Can you still say that in drag racing? I think so. Pro Stock Finals now. Warren Johnson, the professor, in the far lane, taking on young Richie Stevens. The kid, red lights at the start, and the veteran professor gets the win. Warren Johnson picking up the victory, and it's still Johnson & Johnson atop the Pro Stock class. Youth is being served at this moment, but only by 8 points. Kurt and Warren have won 5 of the first 7 events. Jim Yates is way back, 219 off the pace. Richie Stevens and his Firebird, 244 back. Pro Stock Bike Finals, Matt Hines in the far lane taking on Angel Sealing. Hines, the reigning champion in this series, but Angel, she's got her halo going on this year. Hines red lights at the start, giving the win to Sealing. Sealing winning it again. She's won 2 of the 3 events this year. She's up by 103 points on the defending champion, and Hines is still yet to win this season after ringing up 10 victories a year ago. Well, if you played the Juan Montoya trifecta in Rio, would you have picked the winner? Nobody had ever hit this particular bet before. We'll see if they can this time. And changes on the way in the IRL, ones that involve safety as they crank up practice for the Indy 500. Her name is Rio, and she dances on the sand. The Rio 200. Christian Fittipaldi, the pole sitter on his native soil, at least his native pavement. Boy, Juan Montoya looked nervous as he was going for his 3rd straight win, didn't he? Check out Montoya. That's him in the spot shadow right there. He's in 3rd. Uses the inside of the track and just blows by Fittipaldi and Franchitti to take the lead. Lap 23, though, his teammate Jimmy Vassar not having much fun. Electrical failure. He would finish last.
The odds have been with me over time. We don't really have too many mechanical failures, so you know, the team has been doing a good job that way, but it's just frustrating. You know, we're getting off to such a slow start here.
Bass are not the only big name with woes. 5 laps later, Michael Andretti, engine failure, done. Finished 26th. Restart with 6 laps to go. Now we jump way ahead of Montoya. You know what? This guy's just flat good. Franchitti and Fittipaldi left in his wake. Montoya winning this thing with a comfortable lead, his 3rd straight victory. There is much rejoicing and male bonding for Chip Ganassi. Montoya, the first rookie to win 3 straight kart races.
I had a good start. The brake just too early. I knew how deep I could brake, and I just went there, and that was beautiful. I think it really helped, for me, for target. Another win for the target. I like this oval. I enjoy so much being here in Rio, just the fans and everything. Things are coming on great. I think Chip did a great job for me. Target, all the people here, all my guys did an excellent pit stop, so we're okay.
I'm going to give it away. I'm going to tell you, on our RPM Power Rankings poll where we rank the drivers, I'm voting Juan Montoya #1. The first rookie to three-peat. He's the youngest driver to do it, period. 23 years, 8 months. That obliterates the previous mark held by Little Al, who did win 4 straight over his streak that you see listed there. Montoya, just the 8th guy ever to three-peat. Franchitti, left watching him.
I think from the start we were really up against it. Track position was very important today because everybody's running the car so trimmed out. But great pit stop, great first pit stop by the guys, Team Cool Green. But we didn't have it today. Take second, but I'm pretty disappointed with the way things were going out there.
The first 2 laps were really hard. I pushed very hard. I got a lot of people, and after the Miller car was there, we were very competitive, and we did a great pit stop. I think Jim and my guys did very good, and we got a lot of guys in the pit.
I'm happy. I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought I had it like this weekend. Juan definitely drove a great race. He was very competitive, under braking. And I'm happy for the points most of all. I think I'm 3rd in the championship now, and definitely that's very important for me.
Once again, Christian, you have crystallized my thoughts eloquently. You are 3rd in the PPG Cup standings. Montoya up by 15 on Franchitti. Well, the Rio 200 was kart's final race without tethered wheels and suspensions, and it appears the IRL will soon make some safety modifications of its own. Exactly what those changes are isn't clear right now. The IRL does tell us they hope to make an announcement before the Indy 500. The safety measures in place were tested at the Brickyard practice on Sunday. Billy Boat coming around, spinning, crashing hard into the wall of voodoo, and watch that tire get up. The catch fence does its job and stops it. Billy Boat was all right.
We were trying a few different things with that race car, and we hadn't really had that car quite up to speed yet, and we were kind of working that direction. And I'm the one sitting in the seat. There's nobody pushing that pedal down but me. And hindsight, I probably should have parked it before we got that far in, but I didn't. And we'll just try to come back and do the best we can.
Okay, so Indy 500 practice. Greg Ray fastest, his backup car 3rd fastest. Ari Leyendijk in there in the middle, a guy who finishes just off your screen. Tony Stewart, he was 7th fastest in the team, in the car that he co-owns with his team. You can see all of the Indy 500 practice right here on ESPN2, Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time.
Gearing Up is brought to you by Toyota. Every day belongs to you. Make it count.
A show for the fans, a show within the drivers of, who's the best, who's the baddest, and a lot of money.
Crew chiefs and owners tell the drivers, I don't care what it takes, just bring back the steering wheel, that's all we need.
The Winston, the all-star event of Winston Cup, celebrates its 15th anniversary next Saturday night at the Lowe's Motor Speedway near Charlotte. Despite the fact that it's a non-points event, the drivers do not treat it like another Sunday drive.
Everybody gets their race face on, and they all get the feeling that they got to go out there and kill everybody.
A guy is in 2nd, isn't thinking about points, He's thinking about winning the race.
The night begins with the 50-lap Winston Open, a race which provides non-winners the opportunity to fight for one spot in the main event. While Michael Waltrip has never won a Winston Cup points race, he did take home the Winston title in 1996 after transferring from the Open. Qualifying for the first segment of the Winston involves 3 laps around the 1.5-mile oval with a mandatory stop to change 2 tires. From there, 70 laps of racing in 3 separate segments, capped off by a 15-mile dash for the cash.
hope we have a good pit stop, get to start up front, and win the first one, win the second one, or try to win the third one. But the last one's the one that counts.
Teams aren't used to just racing 15 miles from start to finish, and that can pose some problems. Last year, good fortune smiled on Mark Martin as race leader Jeff Gordon ran out of gas on the final lap, giving Martin his first Winston victory. Strategies going in obviously vary from team to team, but for some, it would seem the best plan is no plan at all.
You'll try a lot of different things. You'll try a different engine combination, or maybe do something different with the car that just that may not be as reliable because you don't have to be reliable.
I really don't feel like there's much strategy and thought that goes into it, other than if you're an aggressive driver and you like this type of race, you're going to stand on the gas and try to pass cars and win every segment. Well, winning the Winston Open doesn't do much for you in the Winston. No driver has ever won both in the same year. In '96, Waltrip actually finished 5th in the Open, but transferred to the field and won. Now, gearing up in addition to the Winston for next week, Mike Bliss, eager to say Kansas City, here I come, and his pick 'em up. He's a former winner there. You can see that race on ESPN Saturday. Tim Fiedel has had a couple of good things come from Nazareth. He's the only two-time Busch winner there, and you can see that race on ESPN2. And the Hot Rods, also on ESPN2. Joe Amato has won 5 times in Englishtown, New Jersey. Ted Christopher won the Featherlight Modified Series race at Richmond from Friday night. Tom Baldwin was second. Christopher is currently 11th in the standings. Tom Baldwin is your points leader. We're back after this. Don't forget, Indy 500 practice from 5 to 7 here on ESPN2, followed by RPM Tonight, Monday through Friday. John Kerning, your fine host for that program. I'm Reese Davis. We'll see you later. Bye.
RPM Tonight is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network. Go.com.